grandson, Carson.
No way.
He could literally be. He's only 24. I got shoes older than him. So have you guys heard about the Nigerian prince that was scammed by the Somali immigrant? The immigrant just wanted to get ahead. You know, there's a new Somali hat store in Minneapolis. Everything is 50% off. The Minnesota Vikings changed their name to the Somali Pirates, but they got a problem. None of the helmets fit. So I thought this whole aging thing would take a lot longer. I'd much rather deal with acne than arthritis. I went to the doctor because my hands were stiff, my knees were stiff, my hips were hurting. He examined me, he says, you got arthritis from head to toe. He says, you're gonna have to learn to deal with it because arthritis makes everything stiff. Not everything. Yeah, I used to drink a fair bit to get buzzed. Now when I want to get that feeling at my age, I just stand up too quickly and the room starts spinning. You know, it takes me now at my age longer to start peeing than it does to actually pee. And when I do, it's sort of like this series of urinary dots and dashes. It's like Morse code. Ships at sea have started to respond. You know, there's 4 rules to aging. One is you never pass up a bathroom. 2, you never waste an erection. 3, you never get down on the floor without a plan to get back up. And 4, and most importantly, you never, ever, ever trust a fart. You know you're old when your balls are longer than a CVS receipt. You know, when I was young, growing up in New York, those cold winter days, my balls would sort of jump up into my body to stay warm. At this point in my life now, they just dive into my socks. You know, the first time I sat down on the toilet and experienced splashdown, it was a very traumatic experience for me. So I thought I better go to the workshop and develop something that's going to prevent this. So I'm going to develop what I like to call the TFDs, the testicular flotation devices. I took 2 mini bagels and I put a smear of cream cheese on them, stuck them on, they floated the whole time. It was great. You know, menopause was an interesting time for us. I like to call it the thermostat wars. It was so cold in the house with her setting the thermostat down, we used to get intermittent flurries in the bedroom. I asked Pixie about hot flashes. I said, tell me about these hot flashes. I want to understand what you're going through. And she said to me, hot flashes, you feel like you're burning from the inside out. I said, oh, I understand. It's like when I eat a very spicy Italian meal. I woke up a half hour later and she's standing over me holding the frying pan. We're in bed one night and I hear bzzz. Gets a little louder, a little faster. Bzzz. I roll over all excited. I'm ready to go. And she's just got the little handheld fan trying to cool herself off. I had complete different buzzing in mind. You know, for an Italian woman, menopause is Mother Nature just reminding her that she's going to deal with facial hair for the remainder of her life. At age 90, my Nona had such a luxurious beard that she was able to front for ZZ Top. We've been married 40 years, and I can tell you, my wife walks into the house having had 50% of a conversation in her head before she walks in, and then she accuses me of never paying attention. You know, maturing in marriage is accepting the fact that your wife can't remember where she left her glasses, but she can't remember something I said 39 years ago on a Monday night. The 3 most frightening words in any marriage, I was thinking. The last time she was thinking, it cost me 50 grand to put an addition onto the house. You know, the greatest invention for Italians was the stemless wine glass. I can't tell you over the course of 40 years how many wine glasses we knocked off the table talking with our hands. We've probably saved $400 now with the stemless ones. When I was a little kid, my lunchbox included things that other kids' lunchboxes didn't include. I had linen napkins, I had silverware, I had a little wine glass, and I had 6 extra meatball sandwiches to sell to the Jewish kids. You know you're Italian when you take that rubber band from the broccoli rabe and use that for your wallet. I went to my granddad and I said to him, hey, I need a new wallet. He reached in the drawer, he threw 10 rubber bands on the table, and he said to me, pick the color you like. You know, Italian women talk incessantly, and I think that they breathe through their ears. It's the only way they could keep talking. And that for me blows that whole theory of, I'm not sucking that because I can't breathe right out of the water. And I'm going to tell you my wife's favorite joke. I was looking to make a little extra money, and I decided I'm going to drive Uber. So I get a call, the first call, it's in Sarasota. I pull up, and it's a nun. Sister gets in the car. I'm looking at sister in the rear view. Sister's looking up at me, and she says, why do you keep staring at me? I said, well, sister, I'm a Catholic school boy, and I'm a little twisted, and I always wanted to make out with a nun. So sister says, well, if you're Catholic and you're single, I'll make out with you. So we pull around the corner. I get in the back. Sister and I are making out. She's kissing me like a drunk girl on prom night. I get back in the front of the car, and I'm feeling really guilty. And I said, sister, I have a confession to make. She goes, what is it, my son? I said, well, I have to be honest. I'm actually Jewish, and I'm married. Sister replies, it's okay, sweetie. My name is Kevin, and I'm on my way to a Halloween party. All right, thank you, guys. Have a great night. I'm Uncle Rocky.